Hi, I'm Jeff Bailey, and I'm sharing with you from our beautiful Yoga Loft space here in Boulder, Colorado. And lately, we've been doing all kinds of work and preparation and deep cleaning to get the studio ready for students to come in and practice live. And it's happening. It's now about a week and a half into that, and I can't tell you how awesome it is to have people back in the room and see some smiling eyes. At least we can see eyes, and be able to offer the feedback to students. So it's happening, okay? It's slow, but it's happening. I wanted to take some time here to share with you a little bit about how we got to this moment and maybe a little bit about where we hope to go. Because when the virus and the isolation, the pandemic came in, it was a lot of uncertainty. We were standing on shifting sands. We weren't sure which way we were going to go. And then all of a sudden, the studio had to close, and there was this intensity that we all experienced, right? How do you adjust and how do you adapt? And as a business owner, how do you bring your services and your products online when people were used to coming into a brick and mortar location? Okay, it wasn't pretty for many of us. Holy cow, so much to learn and so much change to deal with. There wasn't much explanation during that time. It was just seemingly one intense decision after another. There's so many moving parts to a yoga studio, more than you would probably imagine. And so during that time, the idea is to bring as much of the product, as much as the service of yoga to the world through the internet, while doing everything I can to preserve the space. Okay, and like any business, for that to happen, to maintain that, you've got to manage expenses, because naturally, as everything changed for yoga, the revenue began to drop. And so how do you manage the budget? There are two major components to a yoga studio overhead. One is the teacher overhead, the other is the rent. And I'd like to first give a huge shout out of thanks to Bill Reynolds, the owner of this complex. Without his very generous support over the last couple months, I wouldn't be standing here sharing this message. I'm not sure I would be even standing in the studio space. So his generosity has really allowed us to move forward and gives us a hopeful future. I wish the story was the same in Gunbarrel, but I have to share that those doors will be permanently closed. It's a little frustrating and discouraging to have to share that, because man, I like teaching out there, and I love the community that we were developing, and I know it meant so much to so many people. But I hope you'll be able to continue practicing online and periodically make your way down to Boulder here and practice with us in the studio. Okay, the other interesting element that happened in the field really is that when the doors closed and there was this adjustment period of taking the streaming online and figuring all that out, the teachers, not just my teachers, but all teachers, were able to pretty much instantly take their practice and their teaching online. And now we can practice with any teacher in the world, anywhere we are, at just about any time. And so yoga is everywhere, and those teachers are now able to make probably a nice living without the middleman, right? So now the yoga studios kind of become the middleman, and they can adjust their pricing and take care of people more directly. My hope for the future with the studio is that as people feel safe and as we can slowly make our way back into the studio, we'll also be live streaming the classes and recording them. So I think that it may take a little time and some adjustment and some courage for studio owners to make that transition, but I believe that is the future. The yoga business, it's kind of a funny, it's a funny phrase, but I love this business and I love teaching. It is my dharma, it's my passion. And like any other teacher, I just want to keep my own practice alive, and I want to keep sharing the practice with as many people as I can. And so I would like to invite you back to the practice and back to the studio. And I know, trust me, I know that as we've come out of this isolation and there's been so much nice moisture here in Boulder at least, and the sun is out, and all we want to do is be outside, spreading our wings and just being outside. And so I get that. I have the same sentiment. But remember the gift of yoga, this amazing practice where we get to take care of our bodies and our minds at the same time. And so I hope that you'll find your way, maybe online, and hopefully soon back into the yoga studio. It's really, it's nice. We're right on this brink, right? It feels like we might be at a turning point with businesses to be able to start opening back up and thriving. But just yesterday in the newspaper, I read about 3 prominent restaurants in Boulder that have decided to close. So this is an important time for us all. As long as we feel safe, that's first. As long as we feel safe, to start making our way and back into the community and kindly supporting the businesses that really make up our community. I guess that's the gist of my message. I just want you to know that I'm here for you. I want you to know that I've made these decisions, very difficult decisions, from the bottom of my heart. You're welcome to the yoga studio anytime. You can find us online, yogaloftboulder.com. Thank you so much. Namaste.